I'm going to show you how you can add a simple frontend to any Google Sheet. So this is a test Google Sheet I created for testing purposes. It has 1,000 rows, and I'm going to show you how we can add a front-end application in front of this. So we're going to go to Agent UI and create an account. Once you create an account, you go to Connected Apps. You integrate your Google Drive, clicking Add, Connect to Google Drive, choosing your account, and giving access to your files. So now we need to give the application access to that specific file. So I'm going to select here and select the file we were looking at. Click select, and now the application has access to use that file. So now we're going to copy the link, go back to Agent UI, and create a new automation or app. So I'm going to call it dashboard. So you can copy. So once you've created your app, you can go back again and copy the data and tell it to create an HTML dashboard with the data from my Google Sheet in add, and we're going to search for my Google Drive integration. The sheet ID is in this URL, and we're going to paste the URL of the Google Sheet. I'm just going to paste it here, and then click enter, send it to the AI. I'm going to wait for it to finish, and it's going to start generating the code. So you can tell the AI to put as many details, as many buttons, as many graphs as you would like, but in this case, for testing purposes, I'm just going to tell it something generic, but you can add as much whistles as you want. I'm going to wait for it to finish generating the code, and I will continue. Okay, so once it finished generating, we're going to see here the result with the fetch data that we have from the application. We can always make this publicly available by going publish, generating a public link, and then sharing this with anyone. And now you have a dashboard that has real-time data from your Google Sheet. So for example, if I search for this lead here, and I'll show you that lead, and then you can always add more fields. For example, you can say something like add a button to mark the lead as contacted and save it to a database when it's contacted. So while it generates the code, I'm going to show you that you can also publish this and create a new team member. And that team member, you can add the role for client, and once they get access, they'll have access to use the application without making it publicly available. So I'm just going to create a user 1 second, and I'll show you how to do that. So you enter some information. I'm just going to enter some test information. I'm going to set the role to client. I'm going to actually change this to a different user so that it creates it. I'm going to create user, and then that user can access the account. I'm going to show you how it will look like. So once that user logs in, the application will look like this, and he will be able to access the application once you publish it. So if I go back to my application and I click publish and make it publish to my team, then that application will show up here, and you can always enter and view it in this section. And then if I go back to the application, you'll see that the AI has added the button to mark it as contact. So now you can save it and mark it as contact whenever you contacted a person. And whenever you go again, you will see that it's contacted. Okay, now if I go back to my application, you'll see that it added the button for mark as contacted. And now you can also tell it to, let's say, like add a button where I can add more rows to my Google Sheet, and he'll create a button that when I automatically add a row, he'll add it to my CRM data. That way I can have a database and then a front-end application. And then you can add analytics, or you can add like statistics or a KPI at the top. So we're going to wait for it to finish generating the code, and we're going to give it a second. So once it finished generating the code, you're going to see that it added the button to add a new lead. We can test it out. So we can enter the information. For example, I'm gonna say agent UI. You can always modify the color. You see that the colors, you're not able to see the colors, but that's fine. We can tell AI to modify it, and then you can add new leads. I'm gonna enter the information, add new lead. So now if I go back to my application, you'll see that now we have added the row we just finished, and it added all the fields.